My son, you have prayed to me many times, pouring out your heart in tears, in silence, and in pain. You sat in the dark, calling my name and wondering if I hear you. You went through days filled with questions and nights filled with fear, hoping for an answer from me. And still, you ask, why hasn't God answered? But now I ask you, were you listening to me? I was never silent. I have always been speaking. My presence has been with you, like the wind touching your skin, even when you don't notice it. I spoke to you in quiet moments, through the people I sent, and through the situations I arranged. But you were only waiting for the kind of answer you wanted to hear, in lightning bolts and dramatic rescues. But I spoke through stillness, through closed doors, through the uneventful. I was there in the delays you called disappointments. I was present in the not that felt like rejection, but was really redirection. You wanted immediate solutions, but I was building something eternal in your soul. I watched you cry when you thought I was ignoring you, but I was sitting beside you, weeping with you. Every prayer you lifted, I held. Every sigh you released, I received. When you said, God, why are you so far? I was nearer than your breath. I was protecting you from things you didn't even know to fear. I was blocking paths that looked beautiful but led to brokenness. I was holding you back from relationships that would have wounded you deeper. You called it silence, but it was me shielding you. Child, I've been talking. I've been answering, but my ways are higher than your ways. My thoughts are not like yours. I didn't give you what you asked for because I saw what you couldn't see. I didn't rush in when you cried, not because I didn't care, but because I knew what I was doing behind the curtain. I have been setting the stage for something greater than you imagined. You've been interpreting my timing as absence, but I'm a God of preparation, not panic. I don't respond in fear. I move in perfect purpose. I saw the moment when you thought I abandoned you. I heard the words you muttered in your frustration. I noticed when your hope began to slip through your fingers, but I never walked away. I was shaping your spirit in that very silence. I was deepening your roots so you could carry what's coming. Your prayers weren't being ignored. They were being answered in the language of eternity. I was talking, but you expected me to shout, so you missed my whisper. You've been asking for signs, but I gave you peace when you should have been drowning. You asked me to send someone, and I did. But you overlooked their voice because it didn't sound like thunder. You begged me for a miracle, but I gave you strength to endure. I gave you grace to take one more step when you thought you couldn't. I kept you breathing when anxiety tried to suffocate you, but because it didn't look supernatural, you thought it wasn't me. But it was. Every time it was me, there were moments when you almost gave up, when your hands fell limp and your prayers became whispers of exhaustion. And even then I was answering. I was placing new courage within you. I was training your ears to hear me through the noise. I was building your trust not on what I do, but on who I am. You've been measuring my presence by outcomes, but I am teaching you to recognize me in the unseen. I am not only the God of breakthrough, I'm the God of process, and I walk with you even through the waiting. You thought silence meant punishment, but it was preparation. You assumed quiet meant absence, but it was the space where I was forming something deeper within you. I let you face certain storms, not to crush you, but to clear the clutter, to cleanse what pride tried to hide, to awaken what comfort had numbed. I used the stillness to remove the noise that drowned out my voice. And now I am bringing clarity where there was only confusion. But child, I need your ears open. I need your spirit alert. I need you to come back to stillness, not to speak, but to listen. I sent people to encourage you, but you dismissed them as coincidence. I stirred your heart at midnight, but you called it anxiety. I closed the door. You begged me to open, but it was because I saw what was on the other side. I let the plan fall through, not to punish you, but to preserve your destiny. I've been speaking through the not yet, through the divine delays, through the moments that felt like nothing. All of it was me. So many times you've cried out saying, God, where are you? But the better question is, where were you when I spoke? Were you too busy repeating what you wanted that you couldn't hear what I needed you to receive? Were you more focused on being rescued than being refined? Were you praying to be comforted, but resisting the discomfort that was designed to grow you? I never left the conversation, but you walked away when the answers didn't come in the form you expected. Now I need you to lean in. I need you to quiet the noise of your fears, the clutter of your assumptions, the repetition of your complaints. I am still speaking. I am always speaking, but my voice is not always loud. My voice does not compete with your distractions. I speak in truth, in love, in quiet revelation. And those who slow down will hear me. You've been busy trying to get my attention, not realizing you already had it. You always had it. You've been praying, but I've been talking. I've been directing, guiding, correcting, loving. And now I'm drawing you back to the conversation you walked away from. I never stopped listening, but now I need you to start hearing. My child, now that your ears are open, listen closely. This is not the beginning of our conversation. It is the continuation of all I've ever spoken into your life. I have never stopped communicating with you. Even when the world was loud, even when your heart was overwhelmed, even when disappointment hardened your hope, I was still speaking. And now I'm revealing what you missed. Because I love you too much to let you keep living beneath the clarity I'm offering you today. You say, God, why do you feel distant? But I tell you this. I was there when you were breaking down in silence. I was standing beside you when no one knew the battles you fought in your mind. I didn't need you to say anything. I already knew. But even then, I was speaking not to your ears, but to your spirit. I placed truth in your dreams. I surrounded you with subtle confirmations. I nudged your heart when you thought it was just your thoughts wandering. And though my voice didn't always sound like thunder, it carried the full weight of heaven's intention. I have seen how you've begged for answers, cried out for direction, and waited for a dramatic sign. But you're waiting for a voice, while I was writing answers into your life. My child, every moment you've misunderstood, as silence has actually been me working behind scenes you can't see in realms your eyes can't enter. It was never quiet. I was crafting a story that required your patience to understand. There were moments when you thought I had forgotten you, but I was watching you grow. Even through the pain, I was shaping the endurance that couldn't be built through ease. I was allowing the unanswered prayers to birth deeper trust, not because I enjoy your struggle, but because I know the strength that will come from your surrender. I never enjoyed your tears, but I used everyone. I collected them, I counted them, and I translated them into the very language that heaven understands. I didn't stay silent. I stayed close. And when your words failed, when you didn't know what to pray anymore, I heard the cries of your soul. I didn't need eloquence. I only needed surrender. And even when your faith wavered, I did not move away. My love for you is not based on your consistency. It is rooted in my eternal promise. So when your prayers were few, I still remained near. When your passion faded, I still pursued you. When you questioned me, I stayed because I never left the conversation. You've been asking for me to speak again. But child, the truth is I've been repeating myself for years. I told you what to do, but fear made you pause. I opened the door, but you waited for more proof. I gave you peace, but you chose comfort. I whispered wisdom, but you chose to trust what was familiar. And now you wonder why you feel stuck. But I have not changed. My word is still true. My guidance is still clear. I am not a God of confusion. I'm a God of order, and everything I said still stands. You keep searching for new directions when I am still waiting for obedience to the last thing I told you. You think I've gone quiet, but I am simply waiting for you to trust me. You don't need more signs. You need more surrender. You don't need more answers. You need more faith. We've been speaking, but now I need you to respond. Not out of fear, not out of panic, but out of love and out of trust in the one who sees the full picture. There are things I've been protecting you from that you never even knew existed. Attacks that never touched you. Disappointments that I blocked. Connections I severed because they would have strangled your purpose. You only saw what you lost, but I saw what would have broken you. And if you knew how many times I said no out of mercy, you would be on your knees in gratitude. I've been talking, child, not to punish you, but to preserve you. And now I am calling you to slow down, to remove the clutter from your heart, to turn off the voices that are louder than mine. You're surrounded by noise, but very few sounds bring life. You are filled with information, but starving for revelation. You scroll, you watch, you compare, but your spirit is dry. You pray, but only to release emotion, not to receive instruction. You speak, but you do not wait to hear. That's why you feel empty, because conversation with me is not meant to be one-sided. I speak too, and I have things to say that no one else can reveal. You say you want clarity, but are you willing to be corrected? You say you want guidance, but are you willing to go where I lead, even when it's uncomfortable? You say you want me to speak, but will you obey when I do? Many want my voice. Few want my voice to change their direction, but I am not speaking to entertain you. I'm speaking to align you, and my words will always pull you back into truth. I'm the same yesterday, today, and forever. What is spoke in the beginning still breathes with power today. My voice doesn't expire. My promise doesn't fade. My truth doesn't adjust to culture. When I speak, things shift. When I speak, the atmosphere changes. And when I speak, it's never without purpose. So now, child, I ask you to remember. Remember what I've already said. Remember the dream I placed in your heart. Remember the conviction I gave you that night. Remember the verse that pierced your soul. I was speaking. I am still speaking. I will never stop speaking, but the question is not God. Are you speaking? The real question is, are you listening now? Return to me with your whole heart. Not halfway, not distracted, not guarded, but fully. Let me recalibrate your hearing. Let me tune your heart back to my frequency, because what I am about to say in this next season requires attention. It requires readiness. It requires a heart that's not just desperate, but available, because I have more to tell you. But only the surrendered will hear me clearly. You keep praying, but I've been talking, and now it's time you hear me. My child, if you've truly been listening, then you now understand. This was never about my silence. It was about your readiness to hear. I've always been near. I've always been speaking. But now I want to say something new, something that will not only awaken your spirit, but redirect your entire life. This is the hour of response. This is the moment to act. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now you've prayed and wept. You've waited and questioned. But now I'm giving you a word that demands movement. My voice was not meant to entertain your soul. It was meant to guide your feet. I am not speaking to comfort you where you are, but to call you where I need you to go. You say you trust me, but trust without obedience is only a shadow of surrender. I'm not calling for hollow religion. I'm not asking for one more prayer from a place of fear. I'm asking for your heart completely, unapologetically, wholeheartedly. You've heard me. Now follow me. There are things I've been preparing for you that your eyes have not yet seen. There are doors I am ready to open, but only when your hands are no longer clinging to what I asked you to release. You want my will, but you're still carrying your own plan. You want new life, but you're still holding on to old wounds. You want clarity, but you refuse to walk away from the voices that confuse you. Child, if you truly believe I've been talking, then respond as if heaven is guiding you, because it is. Do not let fear talk you out of the instruction I gave you in faith. Do not let delay convince you that my voice has changed. I do not stutter. I do not lie. I do not second-guess. I'm not like man. I'm the Lord your God, and what he speaks stands forever. So if I told you to move, move. If I said let go, release it. If I said forgive, then do it quickly. The longer you hesitate, the more you delay what I've already set in motion. Your obedience activates what you've been praying for. I've placed destiny in your hands, but it requires surrender, and not just once. Not just in the moment when emotions are high, but daily, consistently, faithfully, because I do not build with fleeting emotion. I build with commitment. I do not anoint the convenient. I anoint the consistent. You've cried for purpose, but purpose requires discipline. It requires obedience. It requires you to walk even when you don't feel it, even when the crowd doesn't support you, even when the outcome is still unclear. And child, hear this. Obedience will cost you. It will cost comfort. It will cost applause. It will cost familiarity, but it will unlock the kind of peace this world cannot offer. It will unlock the kind of favor that no man can fabricate. When you obey me, you walk under the covering of my hand. When you obey me, angels are released. When you obey me, darkness retreats. The greatest battles are not won in the noise. They're won in the quiet decisions to simply say yes. You keep praying for change, but I'm asking for alignment. You keep praying for miracles, but I'm looking for maturity. You've asked me to move mountains, and I will. But first, I'm asking you to move in faith. I'm not waiting on circumstances to shift. I am waiting on you. Because when your heart is positioned properly, even in delay, you will experience peace. Even in uncertainty, you will walk boldly. Even in fire, you will not be burned. That is the power of obedience. You thought I was distant, but I was drawing you closer. You thought I was silent, but I was preparing your spirit to hear at a new level. You thought you were forgotten, but I was writing your name into a story greater than you imagined. Now I speak to your future and say, rise, listen, respond. Do not let another day go by living as though I am far away. I am in your midst. I'm in your thoughts. I'm in your tomorrow, and I have not changed my mind about you. Yes, you made mistakes. Yes, you drifted. Yes, you ignored my voice for a time. But my grace has not run out. My arms are still open. My plans are still intact. I do not cancel purpose over failure. I use failure to produce deeper roots. And I am calling you back not to guilt, but to glory, not to punishment, but to promise, not to fear, but to fire. Because now you are ready. You're not just praying, you're listening. And not just listening, you are prepared to act. Let me lead you. Let me shape the path. Let me finish what I began in you. This is not just the answer to your prayer. This is the fulfillment of everything I ever whispered over your life. You thought you needed a miracle, but what you needed was me. My voice is the miracle. My instruction is the breakthrough. My word is the foundation. And now I speak again, clearer than before. Follow me. And to all who hath his word, this is not just a message. This is a divine interruption. This is a spiritual alignment. This is heaven knocking at the door of your heart. Let go of distractions. Turn from compromise. Return to the one who has always been speaking, always been present, always been faithful. I am the God who answers. I am the God who leads, and I am the God who still speaks. You've prayed. I've been talking. And now, child, it's time to walk forward in everything I've spoken over you. If this word reached your heart, then don't keep it to yourself. Like this message. Share it with someone who needs to hear God's voice again. Subscribe to Jesus' blessed message so you never miss a word from heaven. And in the comments, write amen if you're ready to stop praying from fear and start listening in faith.